I don't even think it was this time last year that we got the metal dummies of what turned out to be the iPhone 16. And now already I have a shipment which feels heavy enough, and it's far too early in the year for it to be the plastic dummies. So could we have here those much mooted metal dummies of the iPhone 17? All right, let's do the usual. Rip it open. Okay. Now there's been pictures of these go round on the interwebs for the last little while, but to actually have them in your hand, very different situation. You'll need to be a bit careful here. I feel like I need a texter to mark last year's versus this year's. But I guess we can get rid of the metal dummies from last year and just rely on the actual iPhone 16s that I have. So let's see how they compare. All right, so 4 models again, 4 different models. And what would those 4 be? Oh, there's already some very clear differences up here with this camera notch, nodule island, as we might call it. So let's see size-wise what we have here. We have 2, 6.3 inch smaller phones. We have one quite really large, and we have something in the middle, and I'm a bit put off by it, to be honest. So I think we can safely say that we've got a very different lineup coming this year. So we have what I would argue is the iPhone 17 standard. It's got a dual lens, vertical orientation. Looks pretty much like you could argue, if that is the device, that's your iPhone 17. Now, at a glance, it looks thicker. So we'll get to that in a minute. The iPhone 16 Plus, there doesn't appear to be a Plus. And this is a bit different. So we'll come back to that one. The iPhone 16 Pro, that's that one there. I mean, a crazy extension to the camera island. But that feels like that's your Pro. And then this looks like your Pro Max, around the same size. So we've got 3 phones that are, incremental, and we'll look at the differences in a moment. But then there's this one. And I can tell you right now, and you can probably see straight away, if I bring let's call this is the iPhone 16 Pro Max. This is what people are calling the iPhone Air, Slim, whatever you want to call it. We know Samsung has a Slim phone coming out, and this feels very much like that's going to be something very new from Apple this year. So no Plus phone, no, if these are the 17. And remember, a reminder for those that are new. These are made by factories in China that somehow obtain leaked information, specifications, who knows what, for the next phones. And they engineer these models so that case manufacturers, so here's my case for this iPhone 16 Pro, case manufacturers can then get ahead of the curve and start building cases for next year's phone. Now that's not going to fit because of this huge new camera island. That's the reason these dummies exist. Simple as that. You can see that they indicate where the MagSafe island is going to be and all those different things. So let's just talk iPhone Pro standard. Feels like the same height. I'm going to bring out the old width measure because I got to tell you. Okay, width on that one is around 7.5 for the 16, and on the 17 Pro, it's 7.8. That is beefy big. That is a lot bigger. Width on the 16 Pro Max, 8.4. Width on the 17 Pro Max, 8.7. I mean, that's 0.3 mil on both. Bigger. Let's try the standard iPhone 16, 7.9-ish. Call this a standard iPhone 17, around 7.9 as well. So very similar device, the iPhone 17, but it is a little taller. There's just a little bit of extra height there. If you look at the very top, you can see there's just a little bit of extra height to what you could argue is the iPhone 17. It still has same side button, same camera control as we now know it's called, same buttons on the side. So look, I think we can safely say iPhone 17 is going to be a incremental boost year on year. They'll say it has better everything. There's no 17 Plus. The iPhone 16 Pro is replaced by the iPhone 17 Pro, which is, I'm telling you, it may be because this is a chunky bit of metal. It actually is very heavy in the hand. It's chunky as. It just looks chunky. Now on the sides, everything's the same. Camera control doesn't indicate where the SIM slot is on this one because in some countries we still have that. iPhone 17 Pro, it actually has written on the front of these dummies. Poor spelling, but it actually has potentially what it's called there. See, iPhone 17 Pro. Pro Max, so they're just bigger. Are they the same dimensions otherwise? Very similar. Basically, very, very similar dimensions to the Pro models compared to their 16 counterparts. Height, width, all that, very, very similar, but slightly thicker, slightly thicker. So then what the heck is this? It's very thin. Let's have a look. So comparatively, we know the 16 is the thinnest now, or is it 7.9 we said? And your Pros are bigger than that, your 16 Pros. Yeah, they're 8 something. So this one, not 7.9, 5.65. You can't quite see it there, but I get a different measurement every time I put it on. There you go, 5.6 when I look at it there. So depending on exactly where you do the measure, we're talking about something that's going to be 5.7 or 5.6 millimeters in thickness. And then on top of that, there is the large across the top camera island, very Google Pixel-like, but a single camera. Single camera. This is a very strange product because the iPhone 16e, when it came out with its single camera, I said all along, it's the camera everyone uses. It's the camera everyone needs. But interestingly, both my children who have been testing the iPhone 16e going from 13 Pros and 14 Pros, my son would prefer to have the zoom options, fine, for photography. And my daughter, she wants the 0.5 selfie option for Snapchat and the like. So I wonder who this is designed at. It's designed for someone who wants a thin, presumably light, but yet powerful device. Now, this island is far, I think the island itself is quite large, like the base of the island, if you think of the kind of base level, 11.3 is the base of the island, and the lens is 13.0-ish. And if I look at how that compares to the Max, the current 16, 12.5, so it's 0.5 bigger when it comes to the depth or the width at the top of the lens, and the island itself is 10.3. So the island sits higher. So there must be, under these islands on these devices, there must be just a whole lot more power, performance, something. What are they stacking in there? What are they doing with it? And why? It may not even be explained. It may purely be just a decision that they never have to explain. But if we look at it as a lineup, we end up with 17, 17 Pro, 17 Pro Max, and whatever the heck this is. Now it actually says on this thing, honestly, it says 17 Air, but that is just the rumoured name for it. You've got to say it's likely. It also shows a very clear cutout dynamic island. Super thin, still has action button, volume buttons, camera control and side switch. And man, the USB, if you can get a look at that, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it in that shot, but if you can just see how close the USB-C is to the edges of the phone, like you literally, there's not much room for movement there when it comes to the gap between that USB-C port and the actual phone. It actually looks tiny. I need to get my glasses out. It looks like it doesn't even look USB-C size, but I mean, I assume it is. Where's the USB-C cord? Let's check it. Yeah, that's fine. Wow. I mean, that's a staggeringly thin phone. I'll do some additional measurements and I'll post those in the article about this. It's a chunky island with a single camera. Weirdly, I feel almost convinced just by holding it that I like the thin phone, because I say, why do you want it? And I can't wait to see Jerry Rig bend it, because he will. I mean, he just will. Now, it'll surely have to be titanium for that reason. It'll have to have a titanium frame, but we will soon see. Is this the iPhone 17 Air? Certainly seems that way. Another couple of months, we'll probably see dummy models, which might show colours or at least confirm this. And it won't be until September that Apple actually tell us what the iPhone 17 will be like. We'll keep you covered until then right here, and let us know what you think. Is a thin phone what you're really looking for?